Whenever we think of starting seeds or transplanting outdoors, we often think warm. Things need to warm up. Things need to melt. But what if I told you there are a list of seeds that actually do best sown in cool soil, like cold soil, and there's even a list of plants that are best transplanted into cooler soil. This helps prevent disease, pest issues like flea beetles, for example, and can drastically increase your yields along with your flavor. So today's video, we are going to look at exactly that. If you don't know who I am, hi, hello, my name's Ashley. I have a bachelor's of science in soil science, and I like to take said science and apply it to all things plants and soil. And today's video is gonna be hands down one of my favorites because we get to use a little bit of science and an everyday scientific tool that you can very easily purchase. Now, this is my absolute favorite soil temp thermometer made by Radish, and I will try to link this down below. It's probably not going to be an affiliate link. I apologize if you're looking to support the channel. And the reason for that is because I only know of like one or two places that sell this. If you are in Saskatchewan, Burley's Farm and Garden Center does sell these, folks. So Regina, Saskatoon, anyone who's coming to Saskatoon in Saskatchewan, those are the places you want to go check out because I did see these here. They're literally just this weekend. I am constantly asked how to support the channel because I don't really have affiliate links. I don't link the products in a lot of my videos. I just use it and I don't really bother to find the links. It's mostly laziness, if we're being totally honest. But if you want to, I have merch. I always forget to mention that. But the shirts that I wear in every video, those are on the storefront if you scroll down. The bunny hug that I'm wearing in that video was dedicated to you guys. I literally got an artist to make up that Geek Crew bunny hug just for you when I hit 100,000 subs. Also in the store, there's hats, literally everything. So that's one way if you wanted. I don't know. I don't have anything else. Think of ideas, I guess. But before we talk about this bad boy, let's talk about why there are seeds that can germinate in warm soil, but actually are best germinated in cool soil. Now, when we talk about soil, we oftentimes are talking about the physical side of things, maybe the chemical side of things, or the biological side of things. And in this case, the cool actually really only affects one of them, and that is the biological processes that are going on within the soil. And cool soil doesn't necessarily just have slowed down biological processes, but it has different biological processes taking place. And there are a number of seeds and plants that are adapted to actually thriving in those exact conditions. I apologize. Ella's being very Ella today, and she got a new toy from Early's actually, because I was getting seeds from Early's. And she already shredded it to bits. So thank you, Early's, for your sacrifice. That is Ella. She may or may not be a part of the Epstein files. I don't know. You are evil enough to be a part of the Epstein files some days, I think. But she's going to be joining us for this video unless she gets too loud. And then again, I will move her out of the way because she will just start talking our ear off and she's not going to shut up. And that's when we're in trouble. So she just wants scratches. And as long as I scratch her, I think we should be okay. I think. Just don't make eye contact. Anyone who is a bird is laughing right now because they know exactly what I mean. So what exactly is cool soil? Well, cool soil that is biologically active enough to allow for some germination is anywhere between 2 to 10 degrees Celsius, which is 35 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason why I put Fahrenheit in there is not only because I love my American Geek Crew folk. It is because this rapid test thermometer is in Fahrenheit. So if I say Celsius, it's completely useless to you because this is definitely got 0 Celsius involved. So you have to channel your inner American today. That may or may not have been a loaded statement here in 2026, but I meant absolutely nothing by it. Okay, so let's first talk about the seeds before we talk about the transplants. And number one, hands freaking down, is going to be peas. So here's the thing. Peas will germinate at around 4 degrees Celsius. And if they die off in this time frame from when they germinate to when things really warm up, it has almost nothing to do with the temperature and everything to do with the amount of moisture in the soil, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But besides the fact, the amount of sugar in an actual pea seed is in such excessive levels that it acts as a protective mechanism for the cells within that seed. This cold also reduces fungal pressure. So if you've experienced things like fusarium wilt, for example, or mildews, then earlier in the season is the better time to plant them. Fun fact is you don't have to wait for that soil to get to that 4 degrees Celsius mark. You can actually plant them outdoors once the soil is workable to around that 1 to 2 inch depth. And the reason why I say that is because once that pea germinates and it has pulled its way up to the surface and you're starting to see the first growths that are peas. By the way, things like birds will go and eat said peas, so just make sure they're covered if you're doing this. But say you go out early and you go plant them. Once these things start to pop up and thrive, you know it's time to actually get the soil temp thermometer out and check if it's time to seed more of your exotic ones, because they are some of the first signs of spring. And I'm in a zone 3. So I am AKA cold, very cold compared to most of Canada and most of the US. And I actually will plant my peas in the fall, and I will plant them everywhere. Every container gets peas, every raised bed gets peas, in ground gets peas. And the reason isn't because I love peas and I want to eat them nonstop, although they are delicious. Don't get me wrong. I actually use them as literally the canary in the coal mine, if you will, but in a positive way, for when it's time to get into the garden with some of these more exotic transplants and seed starts. But if you didn't plant in the fall, you can actually get these in the ground once everything is workable. Spinach. So again, it has sugars in it and high levels of sugars that actually act as antifreeze essentially within the seed. These will germinate a little bit cooler, so somewhere around 2 to 4 degrees Celsius. And so this means they're great for winter sowing, but they're also great for actually seeding, again, once that soil is workable. And we actually don't need the soil to be workable that low into the soil system. We actually just need that top portion workable, and then we can usually just mulch over top of them. This is all spinach, the small leaves, the baby leaves, as well as the giant leaves. They all will do just fine. This is actually another one that you can plant in the fall. You don't have to just do it in the spring. And if you go for ones that are cold or frost tolerant, you don't even need to cover them. When frost does choose to hit later in the spring season, you can just let her duck because they can go down to probably -5-ish degrees Celsius usually. Now, here's the benefit when it actually comes to growing these or starting these in the cooler soil. It has a softer texture than if you were to start them in warmer soil. And the flavor is actually a lot better in spinach that is started in a cooler soil. So if you've ever thought to yourself, this spinach is very rigid and it's not nice and thin like the grocery store stuff, it's because the stuff you're growing at home is grown in soil that's too warm. You actually want to get them in the ground while things are still cool. Hello. Next up is radishes. So radishes is one that you want to get into the ground, either winter sown or sown into 2 degrees Celsius-ish soil as soon as possible. The reason being is that flea beetles are notorious for taking out young radish leaves. And what we want is a radish plant that has a head start and has leaves that are too hairy and masculine for that of the flea beetle to munch on, if you will. So the best way to do this is obviously to sow them outside early. These are not ones that do well being put outside in the fall, and they are ones that can only be placed outdoors, in my climate anyways, in that early springtime. The other nice part isn't just the fact that you're escaping the flea beetles, it's also the fact that the radish itself isn't going to bolt due to the warm soil, which is very common when it comes to radishes, isn't it? I was like, I don't care about radishes. Just give me my jalapenos because I like my spicy stuff. You like your spicy stuff? You do? Yes. I'm growing you chili peppers again this year. We'll dry them out and give them to you. And then you can eat them. Oh my gosh, we're tangled up. You're so sexy. Next up is actually carrots. So these guys, oddly enough, do like soil that's around that 4 degrees Celsius mark. And if you've ever had trouble with these guys germinating and having a lot of damping off, then it may be because you're growing in too warm of soil. And you need to start growing them in the cooler soil. Another fun fact is that the cooler soil means that the root or the tap root, which is what you're eating, is going to drill down faster, and it helps actually with that root development. So if you've ever had issues with root size and that sort of thing, then starting them early in the season is definitely going to be a top priority. Okay, next one is actually onions. Now, here's the thing. If you are going to start these from seed, then this doesn't apply. But if we are talking about sets, then you want to put them outdoors earlier in the season because they do like that cooler soil, even when they are only sets. Once the soil is workable, get them in the ground. Now, this leads me into our next grouping, which is that of transplanting. And the reason why I say that is because the leeks and the onions you're starting here right now in March, which is when you should be starting these, actually like to be transplanted outdoors while things are still cool. The reason being is that root development takes place in these cooler soils. Okay, here. Back to your cage there, bucko. And more importantly, the root material growing on these guys is really important because we want it to drill down farther and get to those cooler root zones that are found in the lower depths of our soil. And the reason for that actually comes down to not wanting things to bolt. So just like the radishes that bolt in warmer climates, or the spinach or the lettuce, these bad boys also will bolt if the soil gets too warm. The best way to tell the plant that the soil is not warm is by ensuring that a bulk of the root mass is sent lower into that soil profile, or that there is more root mass, some of which is feeling kind of that cooler temp, and then you are off to the races. Next up is Brassicas species. We're talking things like cabbage, the broccoli sprouts. Probably going to be a thing one day, who knows? Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, anything kind of in that family being planted outdoors. Now, these guys have a very thick cuticle. Whenever you play with those leaves, you probably notice that they're very stiff and rigid. That's a thick cuticle. I think that's logical when you actually look or play with those leaves. And that prevents it from freezing because it holds everything in place. And so the vacuoles can't expand and explode that outer cuticle layer, resulting in that mush. It holds everything in place. And so things can freeze and they can't really pop anything. Now, the cold stress does improve flavor for these guys, but it also does encourage a deeper, more broad root development, which is really important for, again, reducing the potential of bolt in the later months to come. So if you had cauliflower or broccoli in particular that continually bolts or starts to flower before you really get ahead on it, that probably has a lot to do with the fact that it doesn't have that root system that's lower in that soil system, and that's because you didn't put them outdoors early enough. Next up is lettuce and spinach transplants. So yes, you can start spinach seeds outdoors, but you can obviously also transplant them outdoors, particularly if you're not a fan of thinning. Now, the reason why these transplants do well being put into cool soil is because it actually reduces the transplant shock that we sometimes see. So these plants notoriously, when transplanted, can go a little bit limp or go into like a transplant shock where everything seems like it's stunted or stopped. And the best way to prevent this is by getting them into the soil earlier in the season. And we'll talk about the temperatures for these guys here in a little bit. Potatoes are another one. Shockingly enough, that you can get into the ground. Sprouts begin to form at around 7 degrees Celsius. Tubers form at about 7 degrees Celsius. And the sprouts themselves are completely cold tolerant. Because these guys take a really long time to just even get going, if you want some of those early harvests and a plant that's not as stressed out, then planting them early in the season is going to be important. But because they're lower in the soil system, they may need to wait a little bit longer than those other transplants we spoke about. But I guess, is it a transplant or a seed? It's up to you to discuss which one that is. But regardless, just make sure you chit them before you do it. Crops you do not want to put into cool soil whatsoever can include things like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash, beans, corn, basil. And the reason for this is because they will lose momentum fast. They will go into a complete pause of growth. It's because the root enzyme activity immediately shuts down. Phosphorus uptake is actually cut off entirely, and the stress hormones are activated rather than the growth hormones. This just results in a weaker plant, so you want to hold off on these for as long as possible. This bad boy is for both seeds and for transplants, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but you can see the temperatures and the crops that go in at those temperatures. And so the nice thing about this is that you can actually measure your soil temp. Now, it's important to remember that when you stick it in, it is measuring from here, not from up here. So if you are going to sow cabbage or you're going to transplant cabbage, for example, you don't want to sink it all the way down because your root ball is not going to be down there. You actually only want to sink it to approximately where you think the cabbage root ball mass, for the most part, is going to be. So you may not sink it all the way to the hilt. This is also important for those of you that are doing tomatoes and you sink your tomatoes to the hilt. You may want to stop doing that and using something like this to make sure that your soil temp lands at somewhere around the 60-degree mark. And that means that when you dig the hole, you want to make sure that you're putting this where the root ball is going to end up and taking that temperature. If it is really cold that deep, you're going to lift this up a little bit. It's kind of important. Now, here's the real shocker when it comes to this bad boy. Different soil types will have different temperatures. This means a sandy soil is going to be different from a clay soil, from a potting soil, compost soil, you name it. All of them are going to have different temperatures. Also, you should note that in-ground versus raised bed versus containers versus the middle of the raised bed from the outsides of the raised bed, all of these are going to have different temperatures, which is why this should always be in your back pocket when it comes to starting. If you have a front yard that's really sunny and a backyard that's really cool, it's probably pretty likely that the soil temps are going to be different in both of these spots. And therefore, you could probably plant your front yard long before you start planting your backyard. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Please help out the fellow Geek Crew folks in the comments down below by saying where you're from and typically when you transplant things outdoors on average, because everywhere is different. Simple as that. Zones don't matter so much as just local knowledge does. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.